Race for the White House is heating up. A new poll shows President Biden and former President Trump in a virtual dead heat in a hypothetical rematch in a key state. Meanwhile, a source tells ABC News House Speaker Kevin McCarthy called Trump on Tuesday after making this comment on CNBC.
Can he win that election? Yeah, he can.
You think he can?
The question is he the strongest to win the election? I don't know that answer.
The speaker quickly backtracked, telling Breitbart that Trump is stronger today than he was in 2016. Let's bring in Rachel Bay, the senior Washington correspondent at Politico, for more on this. Rachel, what are you hearing about this phone call between Trump and McCarthy, and why does all of this even matter?
Yeah, look, McCarthy worked very quickly behind the scenes to try to play cleanup there. He called President Trump. He told him, according to sources I've spoke to, that he, quote, misspoke and apologized profusely. And the reason he's doing that is because McCarthy's speakership for a long time now has been sort of hanging by a thread. There are conservatives, specifically Donald Trump allies on Capitol Hill, who want nothing more than to oust him as speaker. And a lot of them have sort of been biding their time, waiting for the right moment. And they're waiting for a smoke signal from Donald Trump. And, you know, I spoke to folks in Trump's orbit the day this happened, and one of them in particular reminded me that all Trump has to do is wave his hand and send a signal, and McCarthy's speakership will be over by the end of the week. That's what I was told. So McCarthy has been playing cleanup here. But, you know, it's just really fascinating as somebody who has covered this relationship for almost a decade. I mean, these two politicians, the most powerful Republicans in the country right now, with Trump's influence over the party and McCarthy being just 2 heartbeats away from the speakership, they've been allies for a long time, and I can count on one hand how many times they've actually gotten in a scuffle here. So, you know, we'll have to see how McCarthy sort of wriggles his way out of this, but the reality is it could have lasting implications for him in the House and how he governs.
So McCarthy says the media is attempting to drive a wedge between former President Trump and House Republicans. Is this being blown out of proportion?
No, I mean, I think that the quote speaks for itself. And, you know, we're hearing that, as I just mentioned, McCarthy acknowledged privately that he had made a mistake and misspoke. And look, what he's looking at is his situation in the House right now. Not only could conservatives come after him and try to oust him as speaker, but every time Donald Trump or one of these members on his right flank gets mad, they come and they ask for certain demands, and he has to give concessions. Because he has such a small margin in the House, he can only lose 5 Republicans on any one vote, otherwise things can't move through the chamber. He has to try to make amends, and there's no doubt that we could see Trump allies in the House in the coming days come to him in anger over these remarks, and in return demand something, whether it's a plush committee assignment, a certain bill that they want on the House floor that he doesn't want to put on the floor. And then remember, there's a lot of talk right now about impeaching Biden cabinet officials. This is something moderate Republicans do not want to do, but McCarthy's feeling pressure from people like Trump, people like conservatives, and anytime he finds himself in trouble, he's got to give something to these guys to alleviate the situation.
Meanwhile, this new Quinnipiac poll shows President Biden and former President Trump in a virtual dead heat in Pennsylvania in a hypothetical rematch there. We know Pennsylvania is a key state. So what does this poll tell you? And is it too early for polls like this, given we don't even have the nominations yet?
Well, it's certainly early, right? We've got a long way to go, and things could change drastically. But it certainly shows Donald Trump's strength in a key state for 2024. And, you know, I've been talking to Democrats about this for a while. A lot of them thought Trump would be the best person to match up against Biden, the best person for Biden, that is. They believed that he could easily beat Donald Trump, and there's sort of no question in their mind about this. But polls like this, you know, really raise questions about that assumption on the part of Democrats. And let's remember that Pennsylvania was a key state for President Joe Biden in 2020. He won, was victorious over Donald Trump. He has visited the state, I believe, more than a dozen times. It's a critical place for him, and he's been talking to voters out there. So the fact that he's having trouble there is significant. I think the question I have in my mind is, what does this do with the Biden campaign? Do they see this poll and actually change strategies? Do they take it seriously? Because I can tell you, I've asked them about polls where Trump is either beating Biden or in some sort of head-to-head with him in a close matchup, and often they just dismiss the polls completely. They're not heeding them, saying, look, there's a bunch of polls that show Biden can totally wipe the floor with Trump. We're not listening to these. Does this sort of poll start to make them change their mind and change their calculus?
All right, Politico senior Washington correspondent Rachel Bade, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.